is sure I can. This is day 1666, and it has been a long journey. Richard was premeditatedly murdered treasonously on Fort Bliss for reporting criminal trafficking. That's right, all that trafficking that's going on at the border that is now um, terroristic organizations, designated as terroristic organizations, those that are involved in the Mexican cartel and the um, infiltration of the Mexican cartel in the El Paso area, the front door to the United States. El Paso and those port of entries are the front door to the United States, and the Mexican cartel were allowed to come in. They were allowed to embed themselves, and this is into the system. This has been going on for a while, right? And then it escalated. It really escalated into full blown criminal trafficking starting in 2021. It's been going on for a while, but it really escalated in 2021. And so when Richard got there, he absolutely saw the signs of the criminal trafficking, saw the criminal trafficking, um, and reported it. Um, it was not necessary for hundreds of children that were taken and trafficked during um, 2021, 2022. It was not necessary if they would have listened to Richard. Richard was right. Judge Roger Rodriguez also, um, in an interview, you can see the interview, said there's no difference between the Mexican cartel and a terroristic organization. He absolutely knew. Of course, President Trump was right all along, and that was he absolutely said that we needed to secure our border. They did not want to listen to him because the cartel had embedded themselves into our beautiful institutions, and the oath meant nothing to them. The creeds meant nothing to them. They were absolutely serving foreign and domestic enemies, and now they have been designated as terroristic organizations or aiding and abetting terroristic organizations, and also treasonous. Um, so what does this mean? So much is going on, and thank you. I see everyone coming on. Thank you so much. And um, what does this mean for Richard Halliday's case? What does this mean? What happened today? We have breaking news today, right? Jaime Esparza, the DA at the time, he was almost DA for 3 decades, um, just about 3 decades, and he absolutely uh, he faltered, right? He failed, and when he meant to retire, James Montoya was supposed to take his place. That didn't work out because Yvonne Rosales was duly elected. She became the DA. She was elected by the people overwhelmingly. She became the DA, and I don't think I think it was by a smaller margin. Thank you, Anicia, for coming on. Thank you for your prayers and your love. It's a big day. It's a huge day. It's a day to pop a bottle of champagne and celebrate because Jaime Esparza now has been fired. Now, the media doesn't treat it that way. He stepped aside or whatever. But no, he has been absolutely fired. And um, I want to say, I want to wave a flag, um, because we had a part in that. We absolutely sent multiple letters to request that he be fired. He has no business. I can't believe that he stayed in for as long as he did. The day that President Trump took his oath, he should have absolutely resigned, if not before that. So, and he just was trying to maybe rebrand himself, but he is absolutely a Veronica Escobar recommended individual. And, Veronica Escobar is absolutely up to no good. And now I hope um, that they have received the message, right? Received the message that this administration, the Trump administration, is not fooling around. They are absolutely going to fire those that did not honor their oaths, that were up to no good, that put their own piggy banks or put their own ideologies above their office and their duty. Um, and of course, which is justice, which is, their duty was justice, to establish justice. His duty was to prosecute. He failed miserably on that. He stayed with the Walmart mass shooting case for almost 2 years, knowing he had a huge conflict of interest because his sister was there at Walmart, that he went to the Walmart. And the reports are that he even interfered uh, in the crime scene before forensics was done. So there is that all needs to be investigated. His part in all of that, the obstruction of that, the delay of that case. The Doge needs to look at all of the money, the millions of dollars that were fraudulently collected, and their absolute intention to keep that case from moving forward so that the forensic evidence, the forensic investigation would not be revealed to the public what happened on that, because absolutely we know, it is confirmed, that that case was weaponized against President Trump, targeting President Trump for responding to the constitutional crisis there of the cartel trafficking there, which Richard was reporting, and responding by getting a hold of the border and uh, wanting to build a wall and close that border up. They targeted him. They absolutely wanted to affect the 2020 election. They absolutely were rallying around Beto O'Rourke, pushing Beto O'Rourke. Beto O'Rourke went to the hospital and sat with the liar yet. Ernest Christopher Grant was made um, the media sweetheart, and Beto O'Rourke had a photo op with him with that El Paso Matters sign, not El Paso Matters, El Paso Strong sign right there before it ever, they just launched this campaign. It was like a presidential campaign for Beto O'Rourke, a failed one at that, targeting at the same time President Trump with the most despicable lies, using a mass murder to do it. Uh, y- you I mean, how despicable, how cold-blooded are these people? And Jaime Esparza absolutely went along with that. Absolutely, there's no doubt in my mind, because he did not recuse himself with that conflict of interest. And it wasn't until he was AUSA, um, and trying to get a handle over that case, where the Mexican government, since it was an international case, refused, saying that he had a conflict of interest, and he was then screened from the case. Yet, with all the corruption, um, did he honor? Did he honor the Mexican officials to stay screened from the case and not touch it? Um, because you see that the case is frozen, the forensics investigation has not been released. We have the audio tapes of Joe Spencer with mitigating evidence. Um, for his own client that he didn't release, and and evidence against Sam Madrano, Judge Sam Madrano, and Judge David Guadarrama. And just it is so obvious that this was a group protecting each other in this criminal enterprise to politicize and weaponize a mass murder, um, for political gain for their side of the party, and put forth a false narrative against the opponent, and that was President Trump and the MAGA, to stoke fear into the people there in El Paso, and to stoke hatred and anger, to affect the election. It's just really one of the, if not the most despicable political manipulations, propaganda that you could ever see, right? That you could ever see. And the victims, of course, then being, I believe, exploited. I believe that's a good word. They were exploited. And of course, you had the over $12 million of the Walmart Victims Fund, also being in question, needing investigation. The word is out that there was so much fraud with that. And we're getting word that even the Mayellas had fraud with that. Um, that, many had fraud with that. There was just uh, uh, these people, they had no ethics at all. They were doing it for, like, I don't know, a campaign for themselves. Oh, I helped, and with this, but they had their own personal agendas in mind instead of really the victims. That's very, very clear. And, and Richard's case being intertwined with that case, intertwined with the targeting and an attack, and it was, this attack on President Trump went so far as attempts on his life, assassination attempts. And we can never forget that. This is the stoking of hatred, the fear of losing the billions of dollars from criminal trafficking, with selling out your country to the Mexican cartel is, it's so, who are now designated terroristic organizations. And so, and I think Jaime Esparza made a really big mistake, because if he did anything since January 20th of 2025 to aid and abet these embedded cartel, if he did anything to aid and abet, that means that he committed aiding and abetting a terroristic organization, which carries a very, very hefty penalty. And you know, absolutely President Trump uh, notified everybody on that day when he took the oath of office, that he was not going to tolerate narco politicians. Okay. He was not going to tolerate narco politicians that are treasonous, that hurt our country, that will use a mass murder, right, for political agenda and aims and personal gain. So this, I think this is personal to, well, it is personal to him because they targeted and attacked him and put out the very fake narrative, because we know that with even Joe Spencer himself in his own words. But we know that also with Patrick Crusius. And, the trial, the evidence needs to go forward. And of course, Michael Mayella Jr. working. And I posted that up. I mean, there's so many aspects of this case, isn't it, that shows you the level of corruption, right? That Michael Mayella, the son of Michael Mayella, the director, the manager of the federal courthouse under Judge David Waterama, the son is there with Jaime Esparza in the DA's office. Also, with this link to the Walmart, his employment with Walmart security, where, of course, the Walmart security failed on that day. And where is all the camera footage, right? Where's all the camera footage? Why do we only have just this very um, orchestrated um, picture of Patrick Crusius, right? And this whole timing with Patrick Crusius is so suspicious because his family was absolutely in El Paso. His family was absolutely in the El Paso federal courthouse, right? His family was absolutely not just in the El Paso federal courthouse, but his family was in the DA's office with Jaime Esparza. His family was in the FBI office with Jesus Eddie Nieto Jr. His family was in Walmart security. Patrick Crusius's family was in those places. And it's like, what? What? This is investigation. And to see that Jaime Esparza played such a dirty role in all of this, played such a dirty role as the DA, played such a dirty role as the AUSA, right? And getting the nod by Representative Veronica Escobar, who we know her are we know for a fact that she played a dirty role in all of this. It really is all it's like coming into focus. It's like the old film that you would take pictures with, and you'd put it in the chemical bath, and then it would reveal the picture. This is what is happening right now, and we have President Trump to thank for that, his administration to thank for that, and he doesn't even have his full administration in place right now. We are looking very carefully at the FBI, the director of the FBI nomination, and hearings for Kash Patel to get him in place. We are absolutely behind the scenes, nonstop, sending letters. I don't know how many off today. I think it was 5 off today. Sending letters, sending emails. And we are absolutely, I kind of let it out of the bag a little bit last night, but we have more indication of more deception. And, we're just making sure that we let all the important people know first before we reveal that deception, because it's painful to us because it means the betrayal to us, right? It's finding a huge betrayal. And that betrayal to us means a betrayal to the El Pasoans. Every time we are betrayed, every time that they move to keep our son's remains from us, every time these um, institutions and agencies betray their oath of office. And right now, what they're doing is they're aiding and abetting the terroristic organization, which has a huge legal penalty. Before January 20th, you could do business with Mexican cartel there in El Paso. Let's say they owned a business. Let's say, you wanted to sell them, advertising. Let's say you wanted to buy ice cream from them. You can absolutely do that. But right now, you need to be very careful in El Paso because uh, doing business with the Mexican cartel that are designated now terroristic organizations is you are really putting yourself at risk for treasonous activities. And that's my understanding now. Please give me feedback. But this is, you know, President Trump is very serious about ending the embedding of the terroristic organizations that will manipulate our system in order to protect their criminal trafficking, be it child trafficking, be it human trafficking, sex trafficking, be it the narcotics trafficking, be it the weapons smuggling, the ammunition smuggling, be it human organs trafficking. Yes, that's going on. And many, and all the money laundering now, aiding and abetting, and the banks, they all have to reassess who they do business with, who they're doing business with, because they are putting themselves at great risk when they're uh, intertwined with this kind of criminal trafficking terroristic organization to be held accountable for that. And this is why the times have changed and that America is going to be first. America is going to be first in America to the Americans. And it's a beautiful thing. It's beautiful because as we're seeing with Doge, the fraud, the fraud, waste, and abuse, um, it rubs off. It's called sanctification. If anybody has did a Bible study on sanctification, you'll absolutely understand what I'm saying, because the Bible talks about that if you're a believer and you're married to an unbeliever, let's say you are unequally yoked. Maybe you got married and then you became a believer. The Bible says, if you are with a person that's, not a believer, but that is not like committing crimes against you, you know, there's a whole host of lists of really bad crimes that they, uh, you know, uh, absolutely are not tolerable. But if you have a decent relationship, then you need to absolutely work on that relationship and you need to continue building your faith, and that your faith rubs off, right? Your faith rubs off, and you can really have a successful and maybe even change the person that you're with, right? Change them for the better. That's sanctification. And we know, our parents, my parents absolutely told us, watch out who you stick around with, right? Who are your best friends? Because it rubs off if they cuss and are up to no good and get you into trouble. They could get you into trouble, and you can be a lesser person by who you're sticking around, right? Um, and especially when you're a child and you're so malleable at that time period. Um, but so we know that it can work the other way, right? It can work both ways. And what has happened in the country, and we see it with the fraud, waste, and abuse, you see the Sinaloa cartel being in almost every major city, and absolutely having a heyday for decades, selling these really lethal, destructive drugs. And, that comes with a lot of money laundering. It comes with a lot of other trafficking when it comes to child trafficking and human trafficking and all kinds of the sex cult nonsense and everything that goes along with that. Then it comes guns. Guns come along with that because when you're involved in crime and all kinds of criminal activity, uh, y- then they want guns and they want ammunition, and then that comes with it, and it just really snowballs into a terrible, terrible situation and grows into the cities. And I know in Trump's first administration, when he put in the opportunity zones to try to combat the evil that was spreading in the inner cities, and he was trying to do the sanctification from a good point of view, right? Um, uh, to put in these opportunities, these tax-free spots in the inner cities. And then you saw that the Antifa burnings, absolutely overlaid on the maps, were the same spots that they were sabotaging the very good things that President Trump was trying to do in the inner cities, which were the opportunity zones. And that absolutely showed everybody that this was not about race, right? Because inner cities absolutely were for all kinds of different people, right? All kinds of different races. And it was anybody that wanted to do the opportunity. And they went after them, and they were destroying the inner cities that Trump was trying to build up. So that was really obvious. And what Jaime Esparza has done in his DA and AUSA situation was not try to make America great again, not try to establish justice, which was his absolute duty, was to prosecute and make sure that the letter of the law was followed, so that we would have a crime-free area, right? If you have a very serious prosecutor, criminals think twice before committing these atrocious crimes. And that's not what happened. What we saw was an escalation of hundreds of thousands of children that had been taken, being processed through Fort Bliss, and then they're disappeared, right? And we heard horrible, horrible witness testimonies of what was going on at the emergency intake center, at these camps on Fort Bliss. And you have uh, the evidence through people getting angry, like Jules Tuganon Chan, who had a part in all of that, getting angry with us just for mentioning it, and finding him out, which is, connection with EPIC, the El Paso intelligence community, means that there was a absolutely an embedded criminal uh, group into that organization, and or institution and agency. Agency. I got to get all my words right. But, so we know that the DA was compromised, it is still compromised. We don't even have a real DA right now. And then, of course, the federal courthouse, and of course, the FBI, and of course, Fort Bliss, which is CID, with former CID agent Tavita Nusa, who absolutely is dirty, totally dirty. And he must be wanting to try to rebrand himself. Because these people have no shame. They will try to rebrand themselves and try to even put on a MAGA hat or something like that to try to get embed themselves in the system, because that's what they do, right? That's what they do. And I think maybe that's why Jaime Esparza did not want to leave like he should have left. And he could have done it with integrity. But now he's fired. He was absolutely fired. And I'm very happy to tell everybody that we had a part in that, that we absolutely had a part in that. We absolutely submitted letters to say, look, he cannot be in there. Um, uh, he does not have the MAGA agenda, and we need the MAGA agenda, the Make America Great Again agenda. We need the justice agenda. We need the prosecuting agenda. We need the true AUSA position, the oversight position, and the DA's position that is so broken with James Montoya, not even installing properly and even committing crimes, trying to rectify his failure to follow simple rules by the Secretary of the State, who notifies you how to do it all and even sends you the forms. I mean, we know because we have Bill Hicks's open records. So we need a DA's office. We need the AUSA's office. We need the courthouses. But right now they're embedded. Now we have an empty seat or two. Well, we'll see. And people say, how can this happen? How can you not have your son's remains? How can it take 4 years before the Department of Defense tells you that your son was murdered in the line of duty in July of 2020, right? And where is the timetable really? And where is where is the prosecution of those who did this? Where and part of that is the tampering. And now, if they're still hiding all of that information and that's connected to cartel, then that's connected to terroristic organizations. And so they can really, the legal penalties, the legal implications of them aiding and abetting and obstructing justice in our son's case, which is in connection with cartel, because I can tell you right now, we've confirmed that it's with the cartel, that the cartel were embedded into Richard's unit. We know that through 3905 Bliss Avenue, which means that Mario Raskin Ortiz is connected to cartel, because he's connected to that address. And, what was Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia's family doing with Richard's credit cards after he was dead, right? Um, After he was murdered in the line of duty. So all of them still aiding and abetting, still hiding evidence, still obstructing justice, still, you know, not reporting in a timely fashion. That's all criminal. That's all criminal, and that's criminal in helping a terroristic organization. So that's why Pam Bondi absolutely reestablished, promises made, promises kept, the death penalty. the federal death penalty, because this is treasonous activity. This is treasonous activity, and that's why I've been saying and warning everybody that there is a constitutional crisis in El Paso, Texas. That's where the constitutional crisis is, and where, and it is treasonous activity, aiding and abetting a terroristic organization. You want to be under that kind of indictment? I don't think so. Especially when it is involved with a mass shooting and the premeditated murder of a whistleblower soldier on a military installation. So, no, I don't think I'd be wanting to be near any kind of indictment like that. And with Jaime Esparza being fired, that is a huge reality now, because I think a lot of DAs and a lot of AUSAs um, are being looked at. We were asked to recommend different generals to that have betrayed our country, that have betrayed their most valuable asset, which is their volunteer sons and daughters, which is our son. Um, you know, and we will continue to answer their questions, give our honest um, uh, uh, witness testimony to what we've experienced these last 4 years. And to say bye bye to Jaime Esparza was a big celebration. And I don't know if Joe Spencer likes this, right? I don't know if Joe Spencer likes this, because um, you know, and I don't know if Judge Waterama likes this, or Judge Sam Madrano likes this, because this is really a huge indication for them that this administration means business, and they won't tolerate this kind of criminal activity anymore. And Judge Waterama, the whole thing with Michael Maiella, with the federal judge knowing that his courthouse director, manager, is the family of Patrick Crusius. Um, yeah, that is just huge. But Jaime Esparza was also, uh, you know, eh, Michael Maiella Jr. was getting a paycheck from working in the DA's office during that time also. That is August of 2019. That gives you shivers, doesn't it? It gives you shivers knowing that Michael Maiella is this award winning hacker, that he is just that good with the computers and hacking and um, data management. Data management. What does that mean? Tampering with data, deleting data, swapping data. I don't know. You tell me what data management means, because there is a lot of up to no good things going on in the DA's office with all of this. So thank you, Danielle, for coming on. Thank you so much. And we're going to have more information about the up to no good going on in the DA's office. That has, every day. It seems like every day we have breaking news. And this whole thing with Jaime Esparza, I just want to let everyone know that we did submit a request to have him removed. Um, and and that also, that also is important. We have more letters that we have requested people being removed. And so as that happens, uh, because the government is a huge, it's huge. And so they need recommendations. And I think this was the problem during the first Trump administration of who is who's who. And so what they've done is they've reached out. They've reached out to find out who's who in major high profile cases. And so I can tell you this, that this proves that we are absolutely, our voices are being heard by the Trump administration, and respected and respected. And so there are some other people that we would like to see removed. And of course, we demand from the FBI the arrest of Leilani Hart. And I think that this is a step closer to that, because now what is Jesus Nieto? What is John Morales, Agent John Morales? He absolutely has to arrest her. Or what is he protecting? What is he protecting? And then what is he aiding and abetting? And is that aiding and abetting involving a terroristic organization, which would be treasonous? And with Kash Patel, looking very good for being installed as the director of FBI. Um, I just, because another, I, I just think you need to think. You need to think. I definitely understand how this thing grew way out of hand. And but I have to say, I have no patience for it, because look what they did to our son. Maybe other people have more patience for it. I don't have any patience for it. These people need to be arrested. They need to be absolutely investigated and indicted, and they need to be held accountable for what they've done. And where the death penalty is appropriate to apply, it needs to be applied and carried out. I have no patience for hundreds of thousands of children, and then and our son letting people know that this was coming, that there was all kinds of embedded illegal activity in our tax funded institutions and agencies. And what did they do? They covered up his murder. Well, they retaliated against him, and they were so bold as to appoint Ray Velarde as the attorney, which is a very big deal, y'all, because we have confirmation that he is in communication often with the Mexican cartel, that he is known to be in communication with the Mexican cartel. And so that there is, you're covering that up. You're at the magistrate court. I mean, this is where Anthony Aoun comes in, right? I hope Aoun comes in. Mrs. Lorraine Maella's friend, right? Running buddy, my Boston running buddy, is right there in the magistrate court. And I have to say, the magistrate court is very interesting when you look at the history. It is really uh, the brainchild, the project of Jaime Esparza, because years ago the magistrate court, the jail magistrate court, was just one judge, and it was Jaime Esparza that expanded those judges. And in 2015, they got greedy. They got very greedy. And they expanded the jurisdiction to a full countywide jurisdiction. And at that point, they just didn't care to give the people of El Paso their right to elect the judges, and they became a constitutional crisis. That's when it became a constitutional crisis. And that court, um, the assistant uh, DA prosecutor was Anthony Tony Aoun. And he was assigned, I don't know, but he is the one that was over there at the Mag Court. Jaime Esparza's pet project. And he oversaw any of these people being jailed in and or indicted or brought in or whatever. I'm not a lawyer, so I don't have the right words, but he was absolutely overseeing Jaime Esparza's little pet project. And he's, like buddies, running buddies with Mayella. And, don't tell me that he didn't know Mayella was the family of Patrick Crusius. And that Patrick Crusius's family was in the DA's office. As a hacker, an award-winning hacker. And over there at the FBI office, and absolutely involved in the security of Walmart. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. And absolutely involved in our son's case. Absolutely. Um, yeah, the picture is absolutely coming into focus. It's absolutely being developed. And I'm sure that Trump knows it all. This is very personal to him. And the arrest of the old man, and I was going to look that up before I came on, but all this other news is coming in. Um, the the old man, it means old man. Someone can help me. Continued prayers. Thank you, Peg. Thank you for coming on. Um, the absolutely share this. Absolutely go to YouTube and press subscribe and share. It is going to be, we're constantly working behind the scenes. Some new things are going to happen to help us move forward to get justice, right? To get our son's remains and to get justice. And this was a huge day. Absolutely a blessing day, a huge one. Um, so yeah, your prayers are absolutely valuable. And to pray is to do, and to do is to pray. So to let people know and to share so that El Pasoans can be a vibrant, law abiding. Can you imagine El Paso like that? It's just going to be amazing. Absolutely amazing. And amazing for the people in Juarez. I mean, look at some old pictures of Juarez and El Paso. It's just amazing, amazing culture, amazing unifying spirit, um, an amazing economy. But right now, the terroristic organization has held them hostage with this crime, this absolute despicable uh, series of criminal trafficking crimes. And if you're a whistleblower and you don't like it, then you have to suffer what Richard suffered. And that's unacceptable. That's unacceptable. So, yeah, I forgot where I was going before I got detoured, but it is really personal to President Trump. And oh, yeah, the old man. The old man who is the leader of the Sinaloa cartel when it comes in regards to the finances. And he has been arrested and he will be extradited to the United States, or maybe it's to Guantanamo Bay. We don't know. Guantanamo, what is that? The prison there. But we know from our contacts that information from that man is they must have security all around him to keep him safe and alive, because the arrest is meant to absolutely interrogate him to follow the money, to follow the money to lead to the narco politicians. Um, so that is a huge arrest. He will be extradited. We do know that we have military on the ground. The boots are on the ground in Mexico. That the Mexican Senate approved that, and that they say it's for training. Well, whatever. These are really good trainers, super good trainers, the best ever trainers. What are they? And then we heard that the 10th Mountain from Fort Drum has landed in Fort Huachuca. Um, this is the training is really good, y'all. It's really good. And I think it's going to get a little kinetic. I think it is because of all of this weapons trafficking and ammunition trafficking, truckloads, tactical move storage units of it. But um, you know, um, we cannot tolerate the infiltration, the embedding of a criminal organization. So, being German, you're very aware. I've been always aware of this. These terroristic groups that want to, they used a mass murdering, terrible August 3rd, 2019, bloody, to affect an election. And this whole thing, when our Secretary of State Rubio got interviewed the other day, and she was saying, talking about Germany, I was like, oh my gosh, this lady doesn't know any kind of history. If she doesn't know about the funny man with the mustache history, that he was absolutely never about free speech, never. You had to duck march, right? What do you call that? The marching, right? You had to, and that's why Germans don't even like uniforms now, right? They don't even, that's why they don't like a military. They don't like the uniform. They don't want to step in lock like that, um, because of, they did not have their freedom of speech. And right now, because of um, that history, that bad history, you do have them wanting to take away the free speech rights. You don't have free speech in Germany right now. It's better than in the Dritte Reich, right? In the Dritte Reich, you had no free speech at all, and you did not have free elections. My grandmother told me she went in there. You had to go in there, into the local, if it was a church or a school or whatever, and you got a piece of paper, and the brown shirts were all around, and the mark, the candidate was already marked. All you were allowed to do was fold the paper and put it in the box. That's all you were allowed to do, to give the illusion of some kind of election process. And this is what, this constitutional crisis, this embedding of a terroristic organization into our democratic institutions is, you know, uh, that's a slippery slope, and it cannot be tolerated. We need to have free and fair elections, and we need to have our free speech, and we need to be able to have our Second Amendment rights, and on and on. And that means we need people not like Jaime Esparza that will sell out our institution for whatever he was given in return. Um, we need people that will take their oath seriously and uphold the rule of law. And with that happening, um, people will have um, vibrant businesses again, and a very non-divisive. There's always some low lifes that are divisive, but not to have the media being the cheerleader for the most divisive, false narratives in order to affect an election. Um, And that's what happened. And that divisive rhetoric, because Richard was not in lockstep, was a whistleblower, was a patriot, was wanting to be a good soldier, um, was retaliated, murdered, and then the most despicable cover up and campaign to smear him. And that cannot be tolerated. So thank you for following, and we will be back tomorrow with we have already breaking news, and we just want to. It's just pouring in. It's pouring in. So thank you, and please share. God bless you.